I just want to make that point clear that that might not be the case.
Right, it's all possible outcomes, and who knows what's going to happen. Humans are the most unpredictable beings on the universe, it seems.
Well, the thing that I still can't let go of, and I've tried, honestly, because I'm always questioning my belief systems or my understanding of the way things are going, is that this whole reality has to change. Whenever you look out there in nature, everything's killing everything, and that vibration is not a match with a higher frequency. So one way or another, that has to be transmuted and metamorphosized. Now, the actual time frame that occurs, and I know it's not going to be a long time frame, that I know for sure, but it might not be within the next 12 months, is all I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it could be a little bit longer. But for me, that's a given. That is an absolute given. That has to change. It has to transmute and metamorphosize. Everything's killing everything. It's not, nature has her beauty, but when you look beneath that facade of that beauty, it is death and destruction, barbarianism, and it's really sad. There's a lot of pain and suffering. And Mother Earth on her body has got that constantly. Not just us, the human race, but every bug, every worm, every bird, every insect, every plant, everything is consuming life, other life forms, in order to live. So the very vibration of that occurring is not a frequency match. So that has to change. So maybe the way I explained it, the way I thought it might play out, might not be exactly how it plays out. But it still needs to happen regardless, because it's just not a frequency match. That's what I wanted to explain. Maybe the mechanical processes that I shared earlier it's not going, maybe not going to happen that way, but it still has to happen. And the other given is, or an affirmative for me, is the cycle ending on the March equinox. That's when it ends. I can't let go of that either. I've tried, but it just, my heart's right in there with that, and it finishes on the March equinox.
George, so with that being said, and the cycle, you're still feeling really strong that the cycle ends on that date. Do you feel that it's necessarily synonymous with saying that sorry, the cycle ends, but does that necessarily mean that that everyone will be aware of that life will be completely different, and that everyone would be living in a different, frequency spectrum come that date?
I'm in a totally different frequency that I was 6 months ago.
Sure, right.
And I'm getting to the point now where I actually need less food, to be honest. Cynthia and I are going through a shift we have in the last 3 months, and we're finding that we're needing less food. And the types of food that our body requires is changing as well.
Yeah,
so,
we've been noticing a little of that as well.
Yeah, you too. It's great to hear. And so we've got to start listening to what our body's requirements, and not just our physical bodies, but our energetic bodies are saying to us, we don't like the vibration of that. So rather you don't have that. Because the moment you consume it, you're going to go, ugh. It doesn't feel too good. And it's not so much a physical sensation, but an energetic sensation. And the Earth is changing rapidly. And I will say around 2013 March, I will say that actually from this March till the next March, I think is going to be a very, very interesting time. Because it'll be one annual solar cycle to the beginning of to the end of the cycle. And so I'm looking at things really getting going from March onwards sometime in that 12-month period. It's going to be really exciting.
Hey, George, Brent again. I have a question for you about the shift. And as we shift and raise our vibrations, we shift to unity consciousness at some point. Is that correct? And the Earth will also shift to unity consciousness. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We already have unity consciousness. Okay. What we're doing is we're reintegrating with it. I suppose we just said the same thing. You're just looking at it from within the arena here.
Well, a question I had is as the Earth shifts, I've come across some information, and I wonder if what your feeling is about this, that the magnetic field of the Earth will shift from a bipolar field to a monopolar field, where one pole shifts to the center of the Earth and the other pole is like a spherical shape around it. What can you say about that?
My understanding is that eventually the planet has to straighten up on her axis, and she needs to, because inside the Earth, and I'm still on that, I'm answering that question. In what's inside the Earth and the crust that's around what's inside the Earth. Okay, so you got something that's inside, and then you got a crust that's around it.
Right.
What is inside the Earth is a female version of our sun. Right? That's what's inside the Earth. Now that eventually the eggshell, okay, has to crack and allow the birthing of this sun. And how that's going to happen, I put one suggestion forward. I still feel it's a possibility. I just don't want to make it, that's it. I want to be flexible. I want to be fluid, and I have to flow with the changes. So for me, that still needs to happen. Now, how the process is going to take place, over what period of time, it's not going to be over decades.
Right.
That's for sure. Okay? Simply because I know I'm a part of the new reality in the future, and I know it's going to happen very soon because of my life's journey. And also I know that because of the interactions I have with many races, many beings, not just ETs, but on this planet, in many other frequencies on this world, especially the aquatic races, for example, which people seem to forget about. Oceans are full of civilizations, they're just in frequencies we don't access.
Right.
So there's a great many peoples that are going with the changes on the planet and are here for those changes. So the preparations are in place for many races. So it's going to happen over a short period of time. I still see that the crust has to go, has to transmute. And because we're going to be living in that light. Now, when we're in that light, the reality will appear somewhat similar to this, but have a totally different feel to it. And the ecosystem and everything will be not living off light, will be light. Right. So you don't even consume light in order to live, is what we previously did in the higher realms. This time we're going to be the light.
Okay, so what about all of those that don't even have a clue that any of this is going on? I mean, will a split reality develop to where those that are clueless will continue on in a 3D level, and the Earth will actually be in an ascended version as well as a lower frequency version? Will there be more than one frequency of Earth, do you think?
I'm probably one of the very few that don't see the split thing going on. I see the split thing going on where people have to go off-world to another planetary reality to continue the drama. Because if I look at it from this way, and the communications I have with our Earth Mother, my own personal relationship with her, which we've all got this, is that if I'm going to ascend, am I going to leave an aspect of me behind in this space-time domain? No. So if Mother Earth is to ascend, is she going to leave a part of her behind? I keep getting no. I keep getting that she's going to become a being of light. So there's not going to be an Earth Mother left behind. What there will be, though, is timeline tangents going off into other timelines, if that helps. But in this timeline, in this cosmic arena, in this timeline, now this is where it gets really tricky to understand timelines and how they function. When a reality first gets created, it doesn't get created into multiple realities instantly. The space-time location is chosen in the appropriate place within the cosmic arena. So Earth was first manifested in this timeline. When a whole lot of races with their technology, their timeline surfing technology came to this reality, that's when they started creating tangents of other timelines. but they always come back to this one because this is the organic one. This is the real one. This is the when you talk to people that go off onto these other realities and do other timelines, they always loop back to this timeline. It's a loop. It always comes back. So this one is the organic one, and this is the one that's going to evolve. And when it does, those other timelines will end up looping back, but they always have to loop back prior to this ascension process taking place. They can't loop back forward in time.
Okay. Could you think of them as like probabilities?
They are exploring another potential version of life, yes.
Okay.
But the energy, what I want to say is the substance behind the manifestation of those realities is not like this one. They're more shallow. They don't have the, for want of a better term, the meat, the substance, like this organic timeline does. That's why they always come back to this one. And there's a whole myriad of ET races that have come back to this timeline right now because they keep saying this is where the disaster happened. This is where things went wrong at this point in time. Well, it went wrong for them because they're still in the world of technology and they still want to manipulate things and control things. So, of course, it went bad for them. But for all the beings that ascend and go to become a being of light, then it's a wonderful thing.
Sounds like this moment right here is like the finals in Earth history, and you can't skip out, you know. Even though you cut class, you got to come back for the finals, and that's the true test of your experiences here.
Yeah, that's what happens. See, these timelines that branch off and then they loop back, they eventually realise that they're going to have an incarnational experience anyway. So otherwise they can't go through. This is like, this planet is the Stargate into universal consciousness, if you know what I mean.